Digital-Motorsports Championship TCR spring season. It's competition time. Thanks to our sponsor SIMTAG Simulators, we have got this incredible SIMTAG 2-pedal set racer edition to give away. How do you enter? It's really simple. All you need to do is watch the races, leave a comment in either the live chat section or the comment section, which will be available to you after the race, and just tell us who you think the driver of the race should be. It's as simple as that. If you felt like giving it a share or a like, that would be good too, and we'll pick a winner at the end of the championship. Best of luck.
And welcome back to Digital Motorsports and back to the iDMC TCR Cup. We're here for round 3 over here in the US at Charlotte Motor Speed. We're using the Roval layout, the road course plus the oval. So really interesting circuit we've never been to in this championship so far, or in any championship up to now. And this looks to be an absolutely brilliant track for these TCR cars. Judging off practice, it's going to be super close and super tight, as we always like in this championship. My name's Jack, and alongside me is Kevin Galvin. As always, Niall Maher running the cameras. As always, every single week. Kevin, really different circuit what we're using right now. A bit of oval, a bit of road course, really tight and twisty. I think this is perfect for touring cars.
Yeah, it's a really popular track on the iRacing official calendar, and as you see, Naveed taking all of the curbing there on the chicane. A really interesting track, as you say, Jack. Be interested to see, because we've talked before about the potential of drafting in this car and, you know, how much of an impact that has. We'll definitely see that on the oval side of the Roval tonight. Obviously reasonably used on the Coca-Cola 600, just the oval course, but this Roval course, this road course inside is really very popular amongst a lot of people, and a lot of these guys who would have raced here tonight would have raced here before in separate different kinds of classes. But I'm not sure how often the TCR classes come here, so it'll be really interesting to see how these touring cars deal with this Charlotte Roval tonight. And Jack, a really extremely finely poised championship we have heading into this third night of the spring season.
Absolutely, yeah. Here's the man who's leading it as we head second in the championship. Sorry, Jason Cooper, second in the championship. Championship currently led. David saying with the exact same results twice in a row, and he leads that championship not by a hell of a lot, but he's leading in the early stages of this TCR championship. He currently lies on 172, and of course Jason Cooper behind him on 144. Up in third, Keith Dempsey on 122, which is really close across the board. And of course Pro-Am a little bit closer again. Simon Wall leading the Pro-Am standings ahead of Sean McGovern on 139 points, so really close over there. So Naveed's built up a decent gap already in the first 2 rounds. Of course, we're getting 2 feature race wins. Jason Cooper has 2 sprint race wins, and Naveed, I tell you what, unless Jason can find some improvement here, he's just gone half a second quicker than everybody. Keith Dempsey slots into second there on a 124.980. But driver's briefing just happens before every single race, and drivers were discussing the chicane here, Kevin, especially the massive sausage curbs which are ready to greet you and kill you at every opportunity.
Yeah, those are the sort of curbs that I know that I had the pleasure or the pain of running a NASCAR Cup car around Daytona, the road course there, and the sausages eat it up. Now I have to say, this TCR car does reasonably, you know, as things go, reasonably soft suspension, able to deal with these sort of curbs. I know that the apron there in the exit, as we see Naveed going through there, it's more the apron, I think, is the issue, as opposed to the sausage curbs in terms of the driver's briefing. But also quite a few incidents in the last race, or in the last 2 rounds, should I say. So very interesting to see what comes out of that, the last 2 rounds, of course, at Imola, and plenty for our race stewards tonight, Ronan Haderman and Rob King, to look after. So it should be interesting for Ronan, particularly, who is stewarding this series for the first time.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out as Ronan. Normally, we're normally used to seeing him on the grid, but he's taken a stewarding role for this week as Keith Dempsey. You can see him abusing the curbs, going even quicker on a 24.9, but nobody able to eclipse the time Naveed is saying just yet. And Naveed, this will be the first time I think he'd actually take pole in a race so far this season. He hasn't been able to quite get the qualifying in the sprint races, but it always comes back to him in the feature, pulling off an amazing drive from further down the order. We can see it's quite close. Keith Dempsey currently second, Jason Cooper then third, Jason Smith and Rob Moore separated by just a small margin. Look at the margins. You look down, so close. James Holman, Dan Mould, Dwayne Douglas and Nicky Meredith. Simon Wall, the fastest man out of the Pro-Am series at the moment, which is immediately eclipsed by Evan Naylor, who goes to the top of the Pro-Am qualifying so far. Simon leading the championship in that one as well, as Wayne Douglas comes up the hill. He's using, you can see they'll use all of that road on the left hand side. And of course there was an update of course today for iRacing. A couple of new things getting added. We haven't quite seen it on all the tracks yet, but of course Red Bull Ring now on the iRacing service, and a brand new, I think this is what we all wanted to hear and see, new track limits at Spa, Kevin.
Thank God, finally, and in good time as well, ahead of the Spa 24 Hours, which is coming up at the end of July, which is our next big special event that we're taking part in. But yeah, thank God, finally, those Spa track limits are so inconsistent. And to be fair, you know, iRacing gets its criticism, and some of it's warranted. But as a service, they're generally pretty good at listening to what people have to say. They're generally pretty good in terms of, you know, updating the service, I suppose. The way the simulator is run, it makes it a lot easier for it to be updated regularly, because they have more control over the content. So yeah, glad to see those track updates, and same for Le Mans as well. I think Le Mans is some of the slowdowns there. It's more slowdowns than X points in Le Mans, but still, oh jeez, thank God. I'm so looking forward to getting out on track and Spa and not having to grit my teeth every time I go through No Name, because I'm afraid I'm going to get a 1X by putting a half a tire on one of the curbs.
I think I've had flashbacks to Blanchimont, honestly. That was my problem corner with running too wide every time. Peter Dempsey slotting into third on a 124.94, just behind his brother, but Naveed Hussain still with 0.2 of an advantage, so looks like he's going to secure himself pole here this evening. Owen Murray is just about to come through the chicane, through the oval section, and normally the drivers will not be using the apron, but qualifying, I think they are allowed to use it, but they will not be permitted to overtake on the apron, so they need to be pretty careful coming through the chicane he comes, and they're using those curves as much as he possibly can. Comes across the start-finish line now, Owen Murray. Does he have an improvement? Yes, he does, but he's not able to move up a position with that. But there's your turn one, dropping downhill through turn two. This is where the Rallycross track goes, the Charlotte Rallycross circuit, which is an incredible circuit as well, around turn one and turn two. But this is going to be one, but Naveed Hussain, he's managed to secure himself a pole position in the sprint race. Let's see what happens in the feature later on, but Keith Dempsey is up there, Peter Dempsey's up there, so Peter always goes well around the US circuits, and there he is in P3 and Jason Cooper in P4, but it's super tight as we go further down the order. You can see 8 thousandths, 11 thousandths, really close. So let's see what happens and see if the guys can get off the line now. Naveed, of course, we know how good he is off the start line. Hopefully he won't have some issues from starting from pole position. He's used to starting a little bit further down the order in the mid-pack, but he's up there with Keith Dempsey at the front. We're about to get to the grid in just a moment's time for heat race number 1, the first race of the evening, of course. And remember, race 2 is your reverse grid, so the top 15 get inverted. And we have this feature race. Here is the qualifying results then. Naveed Hussain on the pole, Keith Dempsey and Peter Dempsey, and then Jason Cooper, Jason Smith, Rob Moore, Roland Doherty, James Holman, and Dan Mould. We'll get the rest of the grid in just a second's time. Then Wayne Douglas, Nicky Meredith, Liam Matthews, Richard Lyons, Paul King, Rory O'Shea, Sergio Graven, Harold Yatautas, and Neil Ferrier. And there's way more to go down the order. You see Tony Stack, Adam Dowling, Evan Walsh, Peter McCann, Rivera, Bernie. And then we'll have the Pro-Am guys coming up in just a moment's time, but it was just there. Here they are, right on cue. No time set by Michael Seal, interestingly enough. Sean McGovern not setting a time either. Neither did Johnny McMullen. but we'll wait to see in just a moment's time. But now you can see the way the grid is set up, you have to snake their way through the chicane. There's not enough room for all the cars. So hopefully the guys can sort themselves out there. It was Evan Naylor, by the way, who's on the pole for Pro-Am. Simon Wall in second place. But Naveed's got the inside for turn 1, which is arguably the line you want to take. Let's see what Keith Dempsey can do off of the line. And it's very important that you get the start here. Very, very important. So let's see what happens in due course. Got to get ready for the start of the sprint race, and we look forward to seeing who's going to take this one, Naveed Hussain or Keith Dempsey, or Peter Dempsey for that matter, and see if he can slot himself up the middle of the order here. Jason Cooper 4th, Jason Smith 5th, Rob Moore starting from 6th, Doherty in 7th, Holman in 8th, Mould in 9th, and Wayne Douglas, who of course was a previous winner in this championship, as we're about to go to the grid for this one. Here we go. Lights about to come up in front of the drivers. Naveed Hussain on the pole. Keith Dempsey in 2nd. And we are away for the first race tonight. Great start from Naveed Hussain from the front row. Keith Dempsey also a good start. Immediately tries to go to the inside of Hussain. He's got up alongside him and towards turn number 1. Naveed late on the brakes, goes wide and manages to stay in front of Dempsey as they come round turn number 1. Peter Dempsey slots into 3rd, Cooper into 4th. All nice and clean as they come round turn number 1. Naveed Hussain leads, and then the Dempseys following behind. Cooper in 4th, Smith in 5th, Moore in 6th. No change really in the top 10. Peter Dempsey now following his brother up the hill, but Naveed nailed this start. Kevin Keith also nailed this start. Could try to get up the inside with Naveed, absolutely not having it. He's out in the lead.
Yeah, and a very clean start as well. They're all piling in, and good to see as well, as you say, Jack, that the fact that they didn't get to start straight down the order, people were snaking through initially. It did open itself up to shenanigans at the beginning, but everyone's gotten through fairly cleanly. Evan Naylor now in 15th in the Pro-Am category. He's a good buffer now of pro cars behind him, between himself and Simon Wall. But a good start from Naveed Hussain, and the Dempsey brothers will be chasing him down. This one isn't over yet, but it is, as we see all those cars now piling into that chicane. I absolutely love that that livery as well of Homer, as I'm trying to even think of the name of the character, but he's a dishwasher tablet anyway that's made to look like Homer. But yeah, what a brilliant livery. I saw that the other day as Jason Smith starts to tumble down the order. Must have had an accident there.
Evan Naylor in amongst it in the pro category, P12 at the moment for him. Round they go. You can see Peter Dempsey slotted in front of Keith into 2nd, so they've released each other to go chase after. There's Evan Naylor leading the Pro-Am at the moment, and he's got the Italus Roy O'Shea behind him. He's in the mid-pack, so doing a really nice job. But a swap between Peter and Keith. So Peter now 2nd, he goes on the charge. So Keith now behind you. You can see the wing mirror flapping around a little bit on one of the cars there. Jason Cooper also starting to go with them, so I'd imagine they're going to start working with each other here to try and get up to Naveed, who's built a 2nd lead right now. Maybe a little bit of swapping action going to go down here as they enter the oval down towards the chicane. You're going to see Keith move to the outside line on board with Jason Cooper as we see what happens through here. Great to see some oval action here. Keith trying to go to the outside but not quite able to find any space coming through into the 2nd chicane, hopping the curbs, and Naveed made a small mistake and he has to back out of it, use the apron slightly, but got away with it. Thankfully Keith goes back up the inside of his brother on the inside line. Peter does not fight it, lets him straight through, but now that's cost Naveed a lot of momentum. Jason Cooper finds some space on the inside of the oval. That's 2 positions lost for Peter immediately. Yeah, 2 positions lost for Peter. We were speaking about Mr. Sparkle. That's Homer's character, of course, in Japan, of the Japanese soap, but that was more Tokyo Drift from Naveed Hussain as he went through there. I was convinced he was going to lose the back end, but it just goes to show you how versatile these cars are, that you can catch that and snap it back around. Jason Cooper with the fastest lap of the race thus far at 25.3, as cars begin to barrel through now into the home straight. But for Naveed, just goes to show you he's not perfect. You can make mistakes, and that will give Keith Dempsey and Jason Cooper an enormous amount of motivation now, with a 5/10 gap between 1st and 2nd. Top 3 in the championship currently, your top 3 as well, and almost exactly the same order. Naveed leads the championship, Keith 3rd in the championship, Jason 2nd in the championship. So on the chase now they go, and of course Keith will be in the draft range on the oval as they come round. We're going to go back into the mid-pack for just a moment as we look at Paul King, who's now in the midst of it right now. Trying to get himself past Neil Ferrier, but back to the front for a moment here. You can see Peter Dempsey trying to get back past Jason Cooper again, not quite able to do that, but Keith is edging closer to the Vita Sane through. Look at, they got a great run out of the chicane and is drafting his way up to the back bumper of Navita Sane, and this is going to get interesting now. This is what we want to see, the top guys fighting it out, and Navid's under some pressure now, up in the curbs, over through the chicane. Great shots as they come over the curbs and crossing the line to begin lap number 4 as the lap's going by very quickly here. Fastest lap of the race from Keith Dempsey, takes a 10th out of our leaders. They're all on exactly the same pace, but this is proper now. Top 3 in the championship, top 3 on the road. Peter Dempsey mixed in the order as well, so this is brilliant. This is the current championship leader versus the previous champion of the TCR of championship as well, going at it on the track.
Yeah, as Christian Horner once famously said in that Netflix documentary, this is the time where you pull down your pants and see what you've got, because these are the top 3 in the championship, and it's to see now who is able to guide this Audi the TCR car the best through this the Charlotte Roval. It's 4 tenths and 4 tenths exactly the gap between all 3 cars. Not a huge amount of draft between them, though it's hard to tell, even though Keith now has brought that down to about 3 tenths, but not a massive amount. Keith's made up a bit more time there under braking through that chicane, which Navid seems to be just slightly slower than the others. With this, Jason Cooper now starts a run on Keith, but that draft isn't having as much of an effect. Certainly it is not as much of an effect as we saw with the USF 2000 cars in the winter series. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that Mr. Sparkle livery again, because that just made me very, very happy. Hopefully our race director Niall can show it in all its glory, because I did see some screenshots of it from the last race, but I didn't get to see it properly, and that is an absolutely banging episode of The Simpsons.
As we just saw Keith, he made a small error on the way through the second chicane. It cost himself a couple of tenths, took too much speed in. Jason Cooper was able to get back up underneath them, so Navid's got an extra 3 tenths of a gap now, up to 6 tenths. Jason Cooper, and you can see Peter Dempsey using the grass on the outside, so really pushing the limits of the track here. Round the middle sector they come. This is a really, really technical section right here. There's only one line through this left-hander onto the back straight. You've got to be really brave, almost grazing the wall as you exit onto the oval. Then it's brilliant when you hook it all up, and down onto the bottom line they will go to minimize the amount of track they have to use. And you'll see now down towards the second chicane, Keith has definitely brought the gap down. Now we're on board with Peter Dempsey chasing after Jason Cooper. They're all in a big old line and abusing those curbs over the... Oh, look how close Peter Dempsey got to the wall on the exit right there. I think he had to slightly lift to avoid hitting it, but they're really pushing the limit right now. When you hook this track up, it is brilliant, but it is scary when you're doing it for the first time. And look at this, Kevin Keith's reeled him in now. He's all over him.
Yeah, all over him, all over the back of him, cutting through those chicanes. And Keith, great to see him on the pace again as he tries to move around the outside. Can he make it stick? Of course, it's going to be difficult now. When he barrels down, tries to take that inside line, tries the old swap-a-roo down the inside. Keith Dempsey on of Navid Hussain. And a bit of contact there. Oh, a little bit of a neck code, and Keith goes right off into the car. No! Oh, that is not what you want to see at all. Keith, brilliant driving by Keith. And looked like a little bit of neck hold, and then he takes out Rob Moore in front of him, and that's just certainly going to be a penalty for Keith. A bad rejoin. Not the first time we've seen that from him this season, but oh, what a disappointing and what a brilliant move it was. Looked like he was going to get the swap around the inside to take Navid Hussain. A little bit of contact, then it seemed like more net code than anything else, and Keith spears into the wall. Navid now still holds the lead as we head towards the 7th lap.
Oh, what a shame. That was so unlucky as they came round the second corner, and unfortunately Keith is the man who comes out with a DNF, unfortunately, from race number 1. That was almost a brilliant overtake, the beautiful switchback up underneath, and I think he just ran out of road there. You could see Navid try to give him the room, and whatever happened, possibly netcode as they came round there, and unfortunately Keith ends up in the barrier with that new damage model as well on the TCR with the wheels off it. But now it's Navid Hussain versus Jason Cooper, top 2 in the championship, as we see now a little bit of a fight going on here. Neil Ferrier versus Evan Naylor. Evan is not in this fight really. He's in the Pro-Am, so he shouldn't really be fighting with these guys, but he's up in the top 10 nonetheless here as they come round the long oval section. Evan, on the right-hand side of your screen, as you look at it, the inside of the last chicane can't quite get through, and Evan hangs on for now, hopping the curves, but we're absolutely kind of robbed of a battle right there with that incident. And unfortunately, Keith is going to not finish or have to tow back to pit lane, and he's going to cross the line, hopefully, to finish this race. But what a shame, what an amazing fight. That is under investigation as we speak, so we'll have to see what gets on right there. But now, Naveed versus Jason Cooper, and you can see the damage on Naveed Hussain's car. The right-hand wing mirror is hanging off the car, and I think, to be fair, Kevin, I think Naveed's lucky to get away with it in the lead, honestly.
Yeah, lucky to get away with it in terms of that, but I'd be surprised if there was much. I haven't obviously not seeing the replay, it's always difficult to say, but I'd be surprised if our stewards tonight, Ronan Haderman and Rob King, decided to dish out any penalties for that. It looked like a racing incident and looked largely like netcode. I mean, we saw something similar last week as well between those TCR cars. They can kind of bounce up off each other, unfortunately, with the iRacing netcode. That's something that they could look at fixing in the next update, perhaps. But yeah, it was even you see the comment in the YouTube comments, and if you do want a shout out, give us a shout out in the YouTube comments below, and you also have the chance of winning a set of SIMTAG pedals. But yeah, it's just such a shame that we were really robbed of that battle between Keith and Naveed, like two guys who've spent a lot of years in the iDMC and know each other extremely well. But look, we still have 4/10 between Naveed and Jason, and of course Peter behind Jason trying to atone for that, trying to win back the Dempsey name. So still plenty to play for up the front here, and Naveed obviously managed to hold off Jason in the opening round at Donington Park, but this seems like a track that's you can really make a huge amount of time under braking. So it'll be interesting to see whether Jason can make a move. We've only about 2 laps left, so if he wants to do it, Jason is going to have to move now. He's up 2 places from 4th thus far, but he's going to have to get a move on.
Yeah, and believe it or not, now they're actually about to come up to lap Keith. There he is in front in the chicane, and we're on board with Jason Cooper now as he sides his way through the chicane and down towards the last chicane. They'll come 2 laps to go. Cooper trying to go for his 3rd sprint race win in a row. Naveed's not won a sprint race this season at all. Peter Dempsey's just kind of hanging there, seems to be struggling through that chicane, but Jason has got the bit between his teeth right now. Through the last chicane that comes, that is Keith in front of him now. I'm sure Keith will get out of the way through the first corner they come. Jason trying to find some space here. Look at the difference at the lap time. 3/1000 of a second was all it was. They're exactly matched through turn 1. They come round towards turn 2, underneath the bridge into the right-hander. Now, let's see what Jason does here, trying to find a different line, and Keith gets well out of the way for them on the inside right there. Backs off, lets them through, and no issues for those guys right there. Doesn't want to get himself involved in their battle, so to speak. But actually, I think there could be a little bit of tactics going on here, Kevin, because he's actually dropped now behind, and maybe he might be able to give his brother a draft up to the back of them.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe that's exactly what he's doing, which is a very interesting concept. As you say, we're not entirely sure how much the draft has an issue, but certainly Keith will be quite happy to give Peter as much help as he can. Peter obviously trying to fight for a podium, and potentially, if these 2 guys do come together, Jason and Naveed, Peter's back there, he's ready to pounce if needed. So Keith's just gotten out of the way now of Peter. He'll slip in behind him and make sure that he protects him from Ronan Doherty in 4th place. He's having a great race himself, Ronan. He started in 4th, and now staying in 4th. So it's just such a pity that Keith isn't involved in that, because you can imagine the 3 of these guys going hammer and tongs for the last couple of laps. As Jason tries to move down the inside. This is the exact same place that we saw Keith try to move, but Jason's after getting through now. Naveed's going to try to go back on the inside, Jack.
Move! Jason Cooper out of nowhere, up the inside, takes the lead on the final lap. Let's see what happens now. Dempsey's all of a sudden back in it now. Up the hill they come. Jason Cooper leads the sprint race with half a lap to go. Can Naveed Hussain get it back for his first sprint race? Jason Cooper trying to go for 3 in a row in the sprint race. Naveed Hussain hops the curb. A little bit of a mistake through the middle sector now, and Peter Dempsey is all over his rear. Through the middle sector, onto the oval they go, and Jason's built about 0.5 of a second gap right now. He might have just done enough to get get through here on the final lap. Down through the oval they come, using the line of least resistance on the bottom line. Down to the second chicane they'll come in the draft, as we saw. Not too effective tonight. Jason through the chicane. Can he hang off Navid? Say, oh, Dempsey makes a mistake on a big jump over the curb for Dempsey, and he manages to hang on to it. It should still be enough to hold on for third, but back to these two. Can Navid get enough of a draft down towards the last corner? I'm not sure he's going to quite have enough. He's going to take a mistake from Jason Cooper in this last chicane to take the win off him in the sprint race. On the brakes, into the chicane. Navid gives it everything in the final chicane across the line. Jason Cooper 3 in a row in the sprint race with a last lap overtake. Hussein is second, Peter Dempsey is third, and I tell you what, a great performance from this man as well, Evan Naylor, who's on course to win his first Pro-Am race of the championship, as well as finishing in the top 10 overall as well. Brilliant performance. Evan Naylor takes a Pro-Am victory, but Kevin, Jason Cooper does 3 in a row in the sprint race with a lovely overtake up the inside, caught Navid napping, and once again he wins another one.
Yeah, this is just shaping up to be an absolutely cracking series, and disappointing, of course, that Keith had that incident with Navid, but Navid seems to be the king of the feature race, and Jason Cooper seems to be the king of the sprint race. That was absolutely perfectly timed, that run. Made sure he picked the right moment, saw that Keith had gone for a move down Navid a few laps earlier, made sure he gave himself that little bit more room. No contact between the cars this time, and Jason makes a stick on the last lap. What a brilliant race, sprint race, and it sets us up so nicely for the feature. And as you say, a fantastic performance from Evan Naylor, up 7 places. Also, Haraldus Yatautas is up 10 places as well, and Sean McGovern up 18 places into 16th, showing that he's not just good as a steward. A shout out here in the YouTube comments as well to Kevin Shine for all the work that he does in terms of sharing things around for the for Digital Motorsports. But what a brilliant sprint race, and what a brilliant way to advertise some superb SIMTAG pedals.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to, of course, head over to Rob in just a moment's time. Of course, Rob King, he's one of the stewards tonight, but he's going to tell you exactly how you can win a set of SIMTAG pedals, which are up for grabs. And we'll hear from Rob right now. He's over in Digital Motorsports HQ.
Spring season. It's competition time. Thanks to our sponsors, SIMTAG Simulators, we have got this incredible SIMTAG 2-pedal set, Racer Edition, to give away. How do you enter? It's really simple. All you need to do is watch the races, leave a comment in either the live chat section or the comment section, which will be available to you after the race, and just tell us who you think the driver of the race should be. It's as simple as that. If you felt like giving it a share or a like, that would be good too, and we'll pick a winner at the end of the championship. Best of luck.
Welcome back to... Oh, of course we both came in at the same time. Brilliant. Yeah, welcome back once again to Digital Motorsports, and of course now we'll be announcing that winner at the end of the championship. So do get your entries into this championship, to get yourself a set of SIMTAG pedals. They're worth about 1,600 quid, I think, which is not too bad for a set of free pedals. So you can see the results on your screen. Jason Cooper, Navid Hussein, and Peter Dempsey, your top 3. Evan Naylor taking the Pro-Am win. But I'm going to be honest, Kevin, that's a pretty tasty front row for the next one. It's 2 veterans, Sergey Graban on pole, Evan Walsh on the front row.
Yeah, and Evan, I think, has a bit between his teeth because he hasn't had much luck in this series thus far. So he'll definitely be looking to try and make up some places in this one, because it's what an opportunity for him. And this is the great thing about this feature race. If you're, if you can stay consistent, we've seen it before with a couple of guys who have finished down those places in the sprint race, and then they've managed to do a really good job of fending off the top guys in the feature race. So Naveed Hussain, of course, finishing second just by Jason Cooper. What a brilliant drive from Jason, and be interested to see now Naveed. Keep an eye on him, because in the feature races he is just absolute dynamite in these. He's normally up about 6 or 7 places by the first lap. I'd almost love to just put the gyro camera on Naveed's car, and once we get through the first couple of corners, and just watch him do his work, because I think it's going to be something like we saw from Kevin Estra's Porsche 911 at the Nürburgring 24 last weekend. He'll just be passing cars like butter.
Yeah, it really has been something to watch Naveed make his way through. He's taken 2 feature race wins this season, so he's won every feature race thus far. Jason Cooper's won every sprint race thus far as well. He carries that forward into the next one. Of course, he starts in 15th, but I'm really excited now, because you've got Sergey Grabin and Evan Walsh on the front row. These lads have been around as basically the start of it. Well, Sergey was on the grid, he was on the results, but no, how about he make it even better? Evan Walsh is on the pole for this one. Paul King is second, Rivera in third, Tony Stack in fourth, Adam Dowling P5, Neil Ferrier in 6th, Evan Naylor all the way up in 7th. Watch out for him. Alois Yatautas, Roy O'Shea, Wayne Douglas, Nicky Meredith and Ronan Doherty. Then further down, of course, you'll have your top 3 from the race results. Peter Dempsey, Naveed Hussain, and of course Jason Cooper starting in 15th. He was of course the winner of the sprint race. And quick little mention to Ronan Doherty as well, P4 for him in that race. It was a really good job from him. Sean McGovern, Simon Wall, Sergey down in 18th place, Peter McCann, then Jason Smith, Liam Matthews and Mark Birney. And we're going to get underway immediately for this race. A bad start from Evan Walsh, and Paul King's going to try and hunt him down on the outside line. VRA colours on the inside, but no, Paul King leads into turn number 1. Evan drops down to P2 as they head round the first corner for the first time. Rivera in third, Stack in fourth, Naylor up to P6. So a great start from him, and immediately Hussain's on his way through. That's 1 place up for him. Jason Cooper now fighting with that Hussain on the inside. Cooper trying to go around the outside on one of the turn 3 cars in front of him. Peter Dempsey has actually managed to get in front of them. Of course, he started in front of them side by side now between Hussain and Cooper. Up towards the hill they come, and it's going to get really tight for space now. Hussain's got the inside for this one, and he slots in front of the 2 of them there. Sideways moment for Dempsey. He gets through. Cooper drops down, but look at this. Naveed Hussain is an absolute weapon up the inside, and he's already up 4 places from where he started, and that is just an absolute brilliantly executed couple of overtakes in the first couple of corners. Always fantastic to watch. But now we go back to the front again. It's another place to be lost maybe for Evan Walsh. Inside line for Fabrizio Rivera as he goes up the inside into the chicane, but Walsh around the outside doesn't give in and hangs on the second. But Paul King is building a gap right now, but I tell you what, Naveed Hussain up to 10th, 9th already. How about that?
Put the gyro on him, Niall. Get it done. We want to see it from his point of view. Naveed Hussain, unbelievable. Like I say, he's just an absolute dynamo in these circumstances. He just glides past cars with absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's unbelievable how he manages to do it. And here we are. I've got my gyro. Oh no! Timing! Oh, I put the car wash on him. Oh, he's managed to battle his way through though. He hasn't lost huge amount of time. He hits the wall, and he's after, I think, caused another accident. Who was that he's after hitting? I think it's Peter Dempsey. No, it's Nicky Meredith was caught up in that. And another car goes off in the background. There's absolute carnage, having had such a clean sprint race. Owen Murray is off. There's another car trying to battle its way through there. I can't exactly see who slid into Naveed, and just as I was saying, get the gyro on him, it all happens in front of Naveed Hussain. I'm sorry, Naveed. I will take responsibility for that.
Oh, it's all believe it, Naveed. As soon as we put the gyro on him, a car comes up and greets him, and that's exactly what Jason Cooper would have wanted to see. He's up to P8 right now, but Paul King as well had an instant out front, so Evan Walsh leads. Rivera is second. Yatautas down. Look at Evan Naylor, he's up in P6, or to make it P7 as the pro drivers eat him up in the mid-pack. Sean McGovern's inside the top 10 as well. Dempsey in 11. Keith Dempsey up to 18th, by the way. He started basically in last, and he's up to 18th and making progress through the field. But this, I have to feel for Naveed Hussain. He was an absolute weapon off the start and just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Here's Keith Dempsey, Dan Mould, trying to hang on to position right here, and he's going to try and get it up to 16th place. Neil Ferrier into pit lane, fast lap of the race for Fabrizio Rivera as now looking at Keith Dempsey up the inside, door-to-door contact, and Dan Mull has to take across the grass, and this will still be side by side up towards turn number 1, but it should be maybe a slowdown for Dan Mull. And look at that switch back up underneath. Keith Dempsey eats him alive to turn 1, and that was brilliantly executed up the inside. He tried that on the Vita, it didn't quite work, but carried the speed this time. But out front, Evan Walsh versus Rivera, so a veteran versus a man in his second season of Digital Motorsports, has never had a win. Neither of these guys have had a win over the course of these championships. What a great story it would be if either of these managed to get themselves on the top step tonight.
Yeah, I was going to call Evan Walsh something, but I'm going to hold off for a second. But the man from Clonmel is absolutely flying it. There's contact there between Jason Cooper and Ronan Doherty. And Jason managed to he kind of catches Ronan and then manages to right himself again. So Jason now up into 6th. Up behind Adam Dowling as we see that battle there. Sean McGovern blasted through as well. He's up a good few places. Michael Seal up a good few places. Of course, who didn't qualify for that initial race. But there is the Mr. Sparkle car. We've just located the Mr. Sparkle car. That's you can Mark Beardy's car. Mr. Sparkle running through in 22nd. Mark, I cannot thank you enough for having that livery. That makes my day every time I see it go through. Mr. Sparkle. But what a brilliant race we've had so far, and action-packed. And I wonder if there's any, Jack, you might be able to correct me, I'm not sure if there's a drop week in this championship, so it'd be interesting to see how that affects the Vita Seine. I mean, everybody has their moments, but what a huge moment that could be in terms of the title championship.
Certainly could, yeah. I'm honestly not even certain myself, so we'll have to hear from some of the guys later on if we can figure that one out. But it's really interesting. Jason Cooper on his way through the field. Adam Dowling running the top 5, big clatter on the wall from Dowling, and Jason Cooper says thank you very much. Back up the inside he goes. Doherty following him as well. We're looking from the back of Evan Walsh's car. There's Rivera, the Italian, trying to make his way through. Outside line for him. Hold your nerve, Evan. Rivera tries to do the inside, switch back up underneath him there. Tries to go for the inside, but doesn't quite manage to get it deep on the brakes enough, and he hangs on for now, but he's got to try and hang on for 10 laps. But Rivera looks really quick around here in that TCR car. Looking back to this battle as well, Sean McGovern's taking the lead of the Pro-Am as well, but now back to the lead battle. Evan Walsh versus Rivera. Rivera's got the overspeed coming towards the chicane. That'll switch to the inside line, but backs out of it and doesn't go for a big dive. Walsh is trying to hang on here, but it seems inevitable that Rivera's going to get past him. It's going to have to be a defensive masterclass. Rivera goes for the inside line into turn 1. He does a dive up the inside. Walsh carries the speed round the outside of the corner, and it's still Walsh in front, but that's costing them time. You doubt this is closing up to them. Tony Stack is the cork in the bottle for Jason Cooper, Doherty, and all those guys just behind as well. So he's really holding these guys up a little bit, but he's hanging on for dear life. There's Tony Stack up in P4 as well. Well done, Tony, running really well tonight. But Cooper's on the charge as well. Cooper's trying to be the first man to win the sprint race and the feature race. But all of these guys up in the top 4 are trying to win their first iDMC race, especially Evan. He's been in the game for so long, but has never had a win to his name, and he's got it right in front of him. He's got to try and hang on for 10 laps from the guys behind. It seems like a really tough ask.
Yeah, it's Bulmers against Peroni, Finches against Salim Pellegrino as he goes down the inside, Fabrizio Rivera, and he manages to make the move done in the chicane, but Evan will be tight on his track, no doubt. I was going to come up with another one. I was going to say Lara Corbett against Toto Scalacci, but I'm not sure if that entirely works. But Evan is having a brilliant race thus far, and you know, Evan obviously on that VRA Academy team that won the Nuremberg 24, of course, in that TCR car. So Evan has already established his credentials in that car, but he's just not had a lot of luck in this championship. As Sean McGovern's up 6 places, he's leading the Pro-Am category. Michael Seal in 2nd place, Evan Naylor in 3rd. It looks to be a good weekend for Evan, or a good week for Evan if he can make this stick. But Evan Naylor, but for Evan Walsh, it is a great opportunity for him to make up serious places, and I think do himself a bit of justice. As you say, Jack, he's been in this series so long, he's sound guy, really funny guy, must be one of the funniest drivers on the grid, but not a lot of luck in this series thus far, so it's brilliant to see him battling up the top, even though he is slightly falling off Fabrizio Rivera, now 6 tenths between them, and he has Harold Yotautas behind him to contend with, so it'll be interesting to see how that battle develops with 9 laps still to go. But for Evan, I think he's done himself massively proud thus far, and let's see if the Clonmel lad can hold on to it.
Oh, look how much the Tautas closes up on the brakes, even in the chicane, just a couple of meters later, and almost went into the back of him through there. But unfortunately for these guys, there's a man in P4 who's rapidly closing in on them. Jason Cooper up to 4th. There he is, and he's absolutely bearing down on the leaders and has a real shot at going for the double win this evening if he can hang on for this one. It'll be the first time it's been done in this series this season. And as well, Keith Dempsey on the verge of the top 10 as well, up to P11, and he's on the back of Liam Matthews. Fast lap of the race for Ronan Doherty, who's in P5 as well. He's trying to go with Jason Cooper up in the top 4. There's Peter Dempsey. He's up 6 places from where he started, and he's on the tail of Jason Smith. Jason Smith up 14 places from where he started. Great job from Jason, running really well in 6th place. So all these guys up a lot of positions, but I'd love to see how many Keith Dempsey's up. 17 places for Keith Dempsey, and Dan Mould as well. Fair play to Dan. 22 places for Dan Mould, who runs up in 13th, but 17 places gained for Keith, and he's nearly going to make it 18 by getting himself inside the top 10. And the key points, because Navid is saying I don't think he's actually on the track at the moment. Keith got his car across the start-finish line to finish the sprint race. As long as this, and Navid is saying he is out on the circuit actually, down in 27th place. So even if he does get across the line, that is better than not finish at all, as Peter Dempsey makes the move for P6 and is now up the order. And Jason Cooper, he's pulled a second on Yotautas in a lap, and he's already trying to challenge for a podium here.
Yeah, Jason, what a day this is turning out to be for Jason. Saw Keith Dempsey collide with Navid Hussain and go all the way down the bottom. Oh, that's a late move there on Jason. I'm trying to see who it is behind him. Is it Ronan Doherty? Getting very close to his back bumper. But what a day this could be for Jason to to not only have Keith go out in the sprint race, but also Navid go out in the feature race. It's not very often you see that, so this could potentially be a massive night for Jason in terms of trying to win the championship. Fabrizio Rivera still on top, and Evan Walsh holding that 0.6 of a second gap. Jason, though, however, given the amount that he's closed in on Yotautas and made that move into 3rd position now, expect to see that relative between himself and Evan drop, and potentially Jason Cooper could be on for a race win here if he can track these 2 guys down.
But Evans now closed up again to Rivera, so he really wants this race win, and this could be another switch for the lead here at the head of the field. Walsh to the outside line. Rivera's going to try to go late on the brakes on the inside. Not a hell of a lot that Evan can do about this. Tucks in back behind, but all of a sudden Jason Cooper's on top of them immediately, just because they went side by side through one corner. Jason Cooper now half a second behind these guys, so now it's become a 3-car race. Well, Ronan Doherty's in with a shot on this as well. He's up to P4, and he's been using Jason Cooper's almost the bulldozer to make the space for him, and he's been really driving well up in 4th. He's trying to go for a double 4th place finish right now. He finished 4th in the feature, and he's been stuck on the back of that car of Jason Cooper for the whole of this race. Through turn 1 they come, top 3 together now at the head of the field. Rivera, Walsh and Cooper. Cooper trying to go for the double win at Charlotte. Rivera trying to take his first one. Walsh trying to take his first one, and there's Keith Dempsey up to the top 10 from the back of the field, 18 places up from where he started. So great recovery so far. Let's see if he can keep it up. But back to the front, it is super tight, nose to tail. And the Italian Fabrizio Rivera is your leader. Evan Walsh in second, but now he's had a small error through the middle sector. Jason Cooper now senses his opportunity. Onto the oval they'll come, but of course Walsh will have the draft off of the car in front as well. That might help him just a little bit. Here we are on the bumper of Jason Cooper's car, coming round the oval section, which would have been turned. He's going to find the inside down towards the chicane. There's not a hell of a lot that Evan can do about this one. Cooper trying to hang on the inside. It's Walsh super late on the brakes. He's not having any of that, and Jason's going to have to try again.
Yeah, and this is a case of jeopardy for Jason as well, because he's made up so many places, and as we were saying, that Keith and Naveed out of the picture largely for the 2 races, as Peter goes down the inside in contact between himself and Yatautas. Yatautas manages to hold it together. Brilliant driving there, but he's going to be passed now by Jason Smith into 6th place as they go down into the chicane. But yeah, as we saying, Jason Cooper, he's going to have to play his cards right here, because he has an opportunity to make up a massive amount of places, but contact here could see it all go to ruin and potentially lose a huge amount of places on Keith Dempsey, and indeed potentially Naveed Hussain. So he has to be careful here. He's Ronan Doherty swatting around behind him as well. It's like a pack of 4 cars all going through here as Evan tries to make a move on Fabrizio Rivera. Rivera holds him off, and this is just so close as Ronan Doherty was on the outside of Jason Cooper, but Jason Cooper's back down the inside. And this is too close to call. Cooper just about manages to make it sick, but Ronan Doherty is the inside line, and having used Cooper as a buffer for so long, he says, well, thanks very much, mate, I'll take your position now, and now we'll see where we go from here with only 5 laps left.
Oh, that's fabulous racing from these top 3. Ronan Doherty, absolutely brilliant overtake. Rivera's hanging on, but this is brilliant racing. Here comes Evan Walsh again. Rivera shuts the door at the inside. Doherty trying to go up the middle. Walsh around the outside into the chicane. Rivera leaves them in contact again. Side they go, door to door. Walsh makes it through. Doherty goes to 2nd, and now all of a sudden there's 5 cars in the lead battle. It's Peter Dempsey's in this one now. Smith's in the back as well. Walsh leads this one. Doherty P2. Cooper into 3rd. Rivera down to 4th, Smith into 5th, and Peter Dempsey up to 6th. Like, this is proper TCR racing into the 2nd chicane, the last chicane they'll come. There's 4 laps to go here at Charlotte, and it's just descended into absolute pandemonium.
Absolute chaos at Charlotte. Look, I'd love to see somebody please take a screenshot of the relative, because it's 0.6, 0.2, 0.1, 0.2, 0.2 between the top 6, and then Harold Yatautas just on the outside as well, even after he's got contact. Evan Walsh now with a nice little buffer, but Jason Cooper will eat into that, you could be sure of it, given how their relative laps have gone. And he has Ronan Doherty. I thought Ronan Doherty was going to make that a 3-wide situation for a second going into the last chicane, but what brilliant racing. And it's just all the pack is just squeezed up now. All the top 10 and top 11 or top 12 are running so close to each other, as we see Evan Naylor now, does just manage to avoid a wild seal, I think, in the middle of the track. But Evan Cooper managing to hold off Evan Walsh holding off Jason Cooper for the moment. Jason's looking like he's going to go try and move down the outside, but Evan is very late in the brakes going into the chicane, holds him off, which forces Jason back, which allows Ronan now back into the conversation, as a little 3-pack has just emerged from what essentially was a TCR peloton there for a while, but with a 1.1 second between Ronan and Peter. But Jack, this is absolutely brilliant stuff. We keep saying that these races, like, you can't get any better than this. This is as good as it gets, and then every single time you just throw in another car on top. But sure, why not? Let's throw in another one and see what happens.
Yeah, it's getting really tight at the front right now. Cooper trying to move the inside, but Evan is hanging on for dear life. He wants this win here at Charlotte. Doherty's well in with a shout at this. He's trying to go for his first ever win in the iDMC as well. Jason Cooper trying to go for the double. Peter Dempsey's come from absolutely nowhere, and he's P4. Walsh defends the inside. Up towards the hill they come. Cooper backs out of it. Doesn't want to try the overtake. Tries to go for the little switch back up underneath, but there's no way through. And now Dempsey joins the fray. And I tell you what, who's not totally out of it yet, Keith Dempsey, P7 for him from the back of the order. And Rivera spun in the background. He's lost the car in the middle sector, and he's now got around, and the rear wheel has come off his car, and that is race ending for Rivera, who was out in front. What a shame for him. Now we come down towards the chicane again. Cooper sold the dummy. He's got to the inside line. Walsh leaves him room, but Doherty's found some space in the background. Contact in the back, and that's a little gap for Evan Walsh. That's exactly what he needs. Back to now these 3 cars. Cooper falls back to about a second. Doherty in 3rd. Dempsey now to 4th. And Keith Dempsey, Kevin, what a drive. He's P5, and he's only 3 seconds off a podium at this rate.
Yeah, what an unbelievable drive by Keith Dempsey, up 23 places, and those VRA teammates of Evan Walsh will, I know that they'll be conflicted, because on one hand they'd love nothing more than Evan to go through, but on the other hand they'll know they'll hear nothing else but Evan chirping about it for the next 6 months if he manages to hold on to what's been such a competitive race. But what an unbelievable drive it's been from Evan Walsh to hold off these guys who have been basically cruising their way around this championship thus far. Particularly Jason Cooper has been up the front all the time, and really strong drive as well by Ronan Doherty, up 9 places. Jason's up 13, but it's just so close between all of these guys, and even with 2 laps left, it's impossible to call. I mean, if I had to call it now, I'd say probably Jason at some stage will make the move on Evan, but Evan's been doing such a brilliant job of holding out. It's almost impossible to call.
Yeah, here comes Jason Cooper again. He's got the overall on the outside. Also have a little bit of a side draft down towards the chicane. He might be in front before the chicane this time. Can Evan do anything about this one? Late on the brakes again, and Evan hangs on for another time. He's defending brilliantly here, Evan Walsh, and I'm sure there's going to be some brilliant support behind him if he can hang on for an iDMC win. But he's held on for every lap so far, and now Cooper's the man under pressure. Roland Doherty using him and pushing him down the back straight into the last chicane. 2 laps to go here at Charlotte. The pressure is building. Walsh is a little bit wide through the chicane as they come down towards turn 1. Cooper might have him here down to the inside. Evan Walsh tries to defend, and again it's Cooper with the overlap under the inside. He'll try to get the inside line, but he can't quite get up alongside him, and Peter Dempsey gets through on Roland Doherty. P3 for Peter Dempsey here at Charlotte, and he's not totally out of it yet either, but it's only a lap and a half to go, and Evan Walsh is on the verge of victory here for VRA Racing for their first win. But can he hang on? Jason Cooper trying to desperately capitalise on Naveed Hussain's problems earlier on with the contact. Will there only be a lap to go next time? There's Keith Dempsey, absolutely phenomenal recovery once again. He's up to P5, but is this enough for Evan Walsh to hang on? He's got 2/10 of a gap this time. He opens the inside for Cooper. Now he comes back down again. He's trying to chop him off and keep that line down towards the chicane again. Look at the draft. He'll find the inside. Cooper tries to get the inside, no way through, and Walsh is hanging on for dear life. He's putting up a defensive masterclass here at Charlotte. Can he hang on, Kevin?
I think so. I think Evan is almost doing enough. Every time we get down to this last chicane, you think Jason has the run of him, and then Evan just puts his car away and he just can't get past it. And it's almost, Jason's almost bump drafting Evan now at this stage, as Ronan Doherty made a mistake in the last lap, sent himself into the wall, which was what allowed Peter Dempsey to come through, and Keith isn't that far off himself now. As we get the white flag waved at the Charlotte Roval, we're into the last lap here of what is a brilliant race, and Evan goes wide and he allows them through. I think Jason's got
Evan!
Can he defend from Peter Dempsey? Peter's up into second. Can Evan get the inside line? I think he's going to try and hold on to the inside line. No, he's tagged! He's tagged Peter Dempsey. Peter's hold on to it. Oh, that's knocked Peter Dempsey back. That's such an unfortunate thing. Evan now back into second place, but for Evan to be holding on for so long, and then just into the last lap to have just gone wide in that one, and Jason Cooper sails through. That's the 14th place that Jason has made on this feature race, and what an incredible night it's been for him. For both Keith Dempsey has managed to do a brilliant recovery drive as Keith up 24 places to get himself into 4th position, but obviously he lost out massively in the sprint race. Naveed Hussain lost out massively in this race after contact, so you know, there's... Oh, and Evan's been tagged! Evan's been tagged by Ronan Doherty, I think. Oh, that is just so unfair for Evan Walsh. He deserves so much more out of this race.
I don't believe it, Jason Cooper. Oh, Jason Cooper has done the job tonight, though. Double win here at Charlotte. He comes across the line to win, and there's going to be even more contact again in the background. It's getting really messy at the end, and Peter Dempsey takes second. Keith Dempsey takes third. It all fell apart a little bit at the end there for these guys. It was so good up to them, but Jason Cooper's done the absolute job. He's done the double win here at Charlotte, the first man to do it this season, and Sean McGovern will take the Pro-Am win, and Evan's going to limp across the line here to take whatever position he can get, but he held on for so long, just went too wide in turn one, a little bit too hot into turn one, and Jason took his opportunity, and that was it. But absolute heartbreak at VRA as they limp across the start. Oh, that's another car with a wheel missing there as they go round to the last corner again. It's all gone wrong at the very last moment for these guys. Going to limp across the line to finish this race, and Navita Sain's also going to get across the line, at least for him as well, after his earlier contact. Oh, wow, what a race. But Jason Cooper, an absolute hat tip. He's done everything he needs to do, a double victory, and he's the first man to take the feature race away from Navita Sain. He's the first man to do the double.
Yeah, Keith Dempsey, the man who, look, and we're all hugely fond of Keith, and very unlucky in the sprint race, but I don't know, maybe you just wonder in that last lap, 2 incidents caused. It'd be interesting to see whether the stewards look at that. I think Mr. Sparkle is the only one left smiling after that race, apart from Jason Cooper, because you know, look, we shouldn't have favourites, but I think we all know how much time and effort Evan gives to all this stuff, and how much he gets into it, and we were all, you know, really willing him on to get a great result. It was, you know, it was such a shame for Evan to be doing so well, to be battling with these guys, and then get turned. Like, whatever about the opening corner, he made a mistake and people got through, but to be turned there by Keith in the way that he did and got sent into the barrier, and then there was carnage at the end as well, Ronan and Keith involved again in the last corner, and it's just so disappointing. But what a night for Jason Cooper, winning ahead of Ronan Doherty and Haraldus Jotautas. It's such a brilliant drive by him, and a massive step forward in terms of the iDMC championship. And you know, there are defining nights in this series, and we do say it from time to time, but because the guys have been so close, really, the championship's been very wide open. This is the first time that we've seen one person really kind of take hold of this championship, and Jason Cooper now in pole position, figuratively and literally, as we head into the next round.
How about Sean McGovern as well? An absolutely phenomenal job from Sean, because he's actually got a top 5 overall, as well as winning the Pro-Am. So well done, Sean McGovern. After all that, I think there was penalties given out by the stewards during that as well. But you can see the rest of the results just through there on your screens. Wow, just phenomenal. We're going to head over and have a chat with a few of the drivers right now. Jason Cooper is with us in the commentary box. Jason, basically from your perspective, I reckon a perfect day. The double win, sprint race and the feature race got pretty hectic in those last few laps trying to get past Evan, but you're the first man to do the double.
Yeah, even didn't start off too well. I did one lap in qualifying, and then my steering wheel packed up, and I couldn't change gear. I was stuck in 6th gear, so that's why I didn't do so well in quali as well as I was expecting anyway. But yeah, first race was a bit of fight back to the front, and then second race was just trying to survive really. And yeah, Evan put up a hell of a fight at the end. Yeah, it got pretty sketchy at the end.
Yeah, it certainly was. We were holding on for dear life through that, but I think it was an interesting. I don't think this circuit is used too often with the touring cars. So, what's the impression of it? Really tight and technical with the long oval section as well. I think it provided good racing overall.
Yeah, you've got to be really patient with the throttle around there. There's a lot of long sweeping corners, and it's easy to get on the throttle just a little bit too early and run out into the wall. So it's just staying on top of that really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really tricky, of course. We're heading to the Nürburgring for the next race as well. So what's the thoughts heading in there? Obviously, tonight was a really good result from yourself regarding the championship, of course, just bridging the gap to Navid a little bit more. But what's the feeling going into Nürburgring? I think, what's that track going to be like?
Yeah, I've raced there a few times in the ARL, TCR. So yeah, there's normally some pretty good racing there. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, congratulations. You're the first man to do the double win in the sprint and the feature race tonight. And we'll hopefully chat to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
So that was Jason Cooper, the double race winner. And Kevin, I'm going to leave this one to you.
Jeez, Evan. Okay, so before we start this interview, I do want to just stress the fact that there are, children potentially watching this. So please, as much as I know how difficult it is, especially given the circumstances, with no bad language used, can you sum up that race? Because, like, you know, it's few and far between. You have commentators rooting for somebody, but both myself and Jack would have loved to have seen you, even if it's not to finish first, to finish in the podium. It just seems so cruel the way it finished.
Yeah, I think I blacked out for that entire race. I couldn't even tell you what happened. I have to watch it back. Like, it was mental. Like, I was struggling on this track on Monday with the practice, and I just said, look, I'll see how it goes. Like, I haven't had the best championship so far, and yeah, I was really enjoying it, like having good battles there. But I could see Jason hunting me down. I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep him behind me, but yeah, I can't really comment on too much other than that now. I have to kind of look back and see what went on there. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but sure, look, it happens. Like,
it is, and look, like, you're around. You've been doing these iDMCs long enough to know that you know the racing is massively competitive, but you know, it's all kind of good off the track for the most part. But you know, you were saying there you had great battles with the lads, and I suppose that's the thing. Like, we know you're quick in this car. We know from watching in the Nürburgring 24 with the other VRA lads that you like this car. You do well in it, and as you say, it's been a disappointing, I don't think, a reflective championship thus far to this point for yourself. So it must have been great to be in a position where you're able to kind of show that finally, to show people like, yeah, you know, I'm quick in this, and I'm just as fast pretty much as the top guys, even though I know Jason got you at the end, but you were still well up for a podium before that incident with Keith late on.
Yeah, it really is a shame. Like, I suppose a lot of the pace in these things, it comes down to race. Like, I'm kind of surprised at how far off the pace I am in the likes of practice and qualifying and that, but a lot of it comes down to tire management and kind of trying to keep it going. But yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. Now I'm just so I don't know.
Because you said you kind of blacked out, but if I can try and jog your memory in some way, I feel like I'm speaking to a Vietnam veteran here. But if I, you know, like, you were battling there with Jason, and at one stage there was a kind of a contact between I think it was Ronan Doherty. Now I could be wrong, and Jason, and you were kind of 7/10 up with 2 laps to go. You must have seen that gap open up and thought to yourself, like, Christ, it's might actually happen, because you had battled for so long. I mean, how many times, how late could you have gone on the braking in that last chicane? Because it seemed like you were out braking the lads, even though Jason pulled ahead of you a few times. You just managed to step on the slow pedal late enough that you were just about to eke through.
Yeah, it was really, and Jason knows what he's doing as well. He's trying to send me deep into it so he can get a good exit, but I think that chicane is just so tight that there's really nowhere to kind of go out of it. Everyone is just the same sort of speed, and especially with the draft coming into the last chicane, then just before the finish, you're very even, and you were kind of brave to try and make a move in there. But yeah, oh no, it was unreal racing with Jason, just trying to be respectful and leaving space whenever I did see him going for it. There was a couple of maybe nose chops here and there, but I kind of knew you can trust Jason. Like, he's really good. I've seen him competing in these cars for a long time, so yeah, just really good to be able to battle again. Like, really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think deserving, and it's not. I'm not just saying that, as you know, because I'm speaking to. I think everybody, even in the YouTube comment section, was just going mad for you to get something out of this race, a podium, and I think you really deserved it. Look, Evan, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to Niall, Rob, everyone, Ronan in DM. You know, they do a savage job putting on these championships the whole time, and you know, it's good fun. It's a lot of pressure on them, so huge thanks to them, and thanks to the VRA boys as well. They're all watching in the background there anyway. But yeah, and yourselves as well, lads. You always do a savage job. I can't wait to actually watch this back now on stream later.
Yeah, it's brilliant to watch live, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable to watch back. Evan, thanks a million for not swearing. It's a miracle we managed to get through.
Am I that
bad? And look, I say congratulations, and I mean congratulations, because it was a superb performance, even if you didn't get the result at the end. Thanks a million, Jack. I think you have another Evan Naylor standing by.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a chat with Evan Naylor now. Evan, thanks for hopping in with us. But you took yourself a Pro-Am win tonight in the sprint race. Race 2, not quite as good, but still must be nice to get a Pro-Am victory nonetheless, even if it was the sprint race.
It was a bit of a shock more than anything. I don't think it really had the pace to sort of be where it was, but just sort of stayed out in trouble in race 1. But unfortunately, in race 2, then someone had just cut across the chicane on the last corner and parked it on the exit then and went straight into the back of him. So it was sort of losing a second to a second and a half down the straight. So it sort of damage limitation from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're also, I think you're the first Pro-Am to also get a top 10 overall in the first sprint race as well. So not a bad job at all. But we're heading to Nürburgring next week, of course. Do you think the pace will be improving again, or is it one that you might struggle at a little bit?
I think if I can just sort of stay out of trouble, just bang in a few laps, you can sort of pick up a lot of positions just by doing that and keeping your nose clean. So I'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing it next week. Evan, just before we let you off, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to or give a quick mention to while we're on the stream?
Thanks to all the lads for setting this up. A lot of effort goes into it and it's run really smoothly and very professional. And thanks to you guys. It's good watching after the race, and so that's what I'll be doing now when I'm finished here.
Brilliant job. Evan, thanks so many for hopping in with us. Congratulations on your Pro-Am win. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
So Evan Naylor right there. And just one more for tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, a man who finished top 5 overall despite being in the Pro-Am category, and a great night for him as well. Sean McGovern, thanks for joining us. P5 in a feature race in a Pro-Am category. Geez, that's an outstanding result. If you can hear me, Sean, are you still on mute? Or maybe you're so overcome with the emotion you can't. Jack, have we lost Sean? I think Sean.
I think we might have.
I think we've lost Sean, but I know he had some computer difficulties because I was actually working on his PC earlier on today. But
oh well, that's why.
Oh, that's
yeah,
enough.
that makes sense. Yeah, but Niall puts his hand to something and it immediately, yeah, of course.
So I'll jump in anyway. But as ever, to the two lads, Jack and Kevin, maybe we'll wrap up the stream at that. What a night of racing! Pity we couldn't get words there with Sean. I know he had issues with the PC. I was trying to get him sorted out earlier on today. He obviously got in, so the PC stood the test. But what a race for tonight. Jack, Kevin, you've been through most of them. It just keeps getting better and better every time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. And I know Kevin's mentioned it multiple times that we're not supposed to have any bias, but I think everyone who's been in Digital-Motorsports long enough wanted to see Evan Walsh on the top 7 of a podium, and he's come so close on so many occasions. And again, it just slips away from on the final lap again. But hopefully it'll come to him once again. I'm sure he'll have more opportunities.
It was up there with Simon Wall. I wasn't as jumping around the place. Not disrespect to Evan with it, but I was a bit calmer tonight. But it's up there with that, and certainly great choice in a track. Who would have thought for these cars we would have had such great racing like that? But we're just going to say one more time. Maybe we'll run Rob's little video before we close out. What a great prize we've got tonight as well, and a set of SIMTAG pedals up for grabs. So make sure and get your name in for that. What a prize that is. And also then don't forget, this weekend is round 1 of the Digital-Motorsports ICCR, which sees racing back at Mondello. We'll be down there ourselves. There's rumors of an F3 car coming out, so we'll keep an eye on that to see how that goes. I know Brendan Stone wasn't able to race tonight because he's been hard at work preparing F3 and GP2 cars and all types of stuff, so hopefully we get to see that. But I'll leave it off to you two lads to sign up for tonight, and after that then I'll run Rob's little prize again, and we'll see you in a week's time at the Nürburgring. I think we got it right this time, Kevin. Yeah,
I think we're right. Jack, do you want to say a few words before we finish off?
just tune back in next week. If you're not watching this, what are you doing, basically?
Yes, that's succinctly put. Thanks very much to my colleague Jack, and of course Niall on the cameras, the only man who can create a rumor and then instantly confirm it himself. Thanks a million, Niall. But next week off to Nuremberg, and as Niall said, who would have thought that this track and car combo would bring such great racing? But I think with the current field that we have at the moment and the TCR cars, I think you could honestly put these guys, you know, around the M50, and they probably make a decent race of it. So do join us next week. We're going very DTM. We have an Audi RS3 around the Nuremberg ring. Get your Steiners in, get on your Lederhosen, and join us next week, Wednesday at 8:30 this time next week, for the latest round of the iDMC winter season. But until then, slán go fóill.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to the Irish Digital-Motorsports Championship TCR spring season. It's competition time. Thanks to our sponsors SIMTAG Simulators, we have got this incredible SIMTAG 2-pedal set Racer Edition to give away. How do you enter? It's really simple. All you need to do is watch the races, leave a comment in either the live chat section or the comment section, which will be available to you after the race, and just tell us who you think the driver of the race should be. It's as simple as that. If you felt like giving it a share or a like, that would be good too, and we'll pick a winner at the end of the championship. Best of luck.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.